So today we are here with Meg Scanlon. Meg is a multiple-time IPF world champion in the 63 kilogram weight class. Her best bench press to date in competition is 142.5 kilogram. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you again for joining us, Meg. We're going to go over today spotting and handing off specifically for the bench press. Now, in talking before this, Meg actually doesn't take a handoff, and that's actually the reason why we are making this video, is because a lot of times people screw up the handoff and it can throw the lifter off. So we're going to today talk about what, as a person who's spotting and lifting off, you can do, and as an athlete, what you can teach the person who is spotting and handing you off, what you can do to teach them how to do it properly so they don't screw up your bench. So if Meg, why don't you go ahead and set up? So this is, while Meg is setting up as the spotter, I'm gonna give her space because a lot of people set up a little differently. They may pull themselves back a little too far underneath the bench. So I'm gonna give them space so I'm not all up in their business while they're setting up. Once I know that they're set, I'll get back up into position.
Okay.
Okay. And then we're gonna step up onto the platform. And what we're gonna do is, ahead of time, we're gonna actually establish, I'm gonna step back down for a second. We're gonna establish ahead of time as a spotter and a lifter. I'm gonna ask the lifter a couple of questions. When do you want your lift off, right? Some people have different cadences. It could be 1, 2, 3 lift. It could be lift on 3. It could be 1, 2 and a head nod. It could be just a straight head nod. So that's gonna be something to effectively communicate with the lifter before you're actually up on the platform handing them off, right? You don't wanna throw off their timing or just guess when they're ready. So if we were to, Meg, I know you said you don't normally do handoffs. If you would, what would that cadence be for you?
On 3.
Okay.
So 1, 2, and then on 3.
And then on 3, I'm gonna start to lift. Now, when we say lift, I am not actually physically lifting the bar like I'm doing an upright row, okay? We talked about this a little bit beforehand, but what I'm thinking about as a spotter is when I'm lifting, go ahead.
1, 2, 3.
I'm actually just slightly tensing my body, and Meg is doing all the work. I'm just helping that last 1 to 2%, okay? What we're trying to avoid.
1, 2, 3. Sorry.
Okay.
Even the barbell is so bad.
Right? So that obviously looks cartoonish, but we've seen that, and that's actually happened to Meg before, right? We've all had that happen to us before. And while we can laugh about it now because obviously this is an empty barbell, it's no laughing matter when someone is either going for a very heavy attempt. This could be in a meet, it could be in their last heavy training session before the meet. We don't want to destroy someone's confidence. We don't want to physically hurt somebody. If somebody's not ready for it, you pull it out and then you dump it on them, and all of a sudden we don't want to have any shoulder issues, elbow, pec, anything like that ever, certainly not in a meet prep. So this is something to take seriously. And like I said, if you are somebody who's not quite confident in lifting off like you're by yourself, like Meg is, we want to make sure that that trust and that communication between the person who is spotting and handing off and the lifter is super strong, okay? So go ahead and set back up, Meg. So again, I know that in this scenario, Meg likes to lift on 3. I'm gonna wait till she's fully set.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Once I know she's set, I'm gonna step back, get into spotting position. And back. Okay. So, how close you are to the barbell is going to be another thing you want to establish with the lifter. Whether you are standing just back enough and you just say, hey, just kind of stand there, make sure, I know this is going to go well, but just don't even come close to the bar, okay? Other times they say, no, get your hands underneath the bar, but don't touch the bar, okay? Some people may say, all right, I actually do want you to touch if I'm starting to struggle. Other people, may, like I said, want to work through it a little more. That is something you need to communicate with the spotter on your lift. So if you're somebody who is struggling through the rep, let's go ahead and set that back up. Not that you're actually going to struggle through an empty bar, Meg. But we need to communicate together to know, I don't want to take the bar prematurely from Meg, okay? So if she says to me ahead of time, let me work through this, don't take the bar until the bar comes back down towards my chest, I'm gonna let her work through that a little more.
1, 2, 3.
Good. Okay. So again, you don't want to rob somebody of an attempt, both certainly in a meet, but even in prep for a meet, you don't want to rob somebody of an attempt that they would be getting something that's a hard grind that they've worked so damn hard for by just prematurely lifting it up and robbing them from that lift. Meg, is there anything else you want to add when it comes to spotting, lifting off, anything with the bench press?
I think as a lifter, there are really important things to communicate to whoever is spotting you and giving you a handoff, such as, I know Eric said, how you want the handoff, on 3 or a head nod or on 2, however you want it. Also, reminding them that they're guiding it over you. They're not really lifting it off as light as possible. And finally, it is really important to tell them how many reps you are doing so that they can help you re-rack the barbell as well and that they're not grabbing it too soon.
Awesome.